Yes. Yes, it did.
Did it really?
Yeah. Good job, JB.
JB is the
If you
hero.
need any help, if you need somebody to unplug a router and plug it back in, I'm your man.
You are the man.
JB is the man. We all strive to be...
That's the sum total.
No, we don't. Try this to be JB. Sorry.
That's the sum total of all my knowledge that I learned.
Alright, we should be live now.
Are we really?
After, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, shut that. No formal, because we'll start at the end of this game. And welcome to round one. Yeah, they're just going to play one game this time. It's a new format we got here down at the shop.
Does Kai Bude even still play?
Yes, he does. Not with, like, super frequency, but he does travel to events and whatnot. Alright. Well, for those of you watching, I apologize. Apparently we had some major connectivity issue with that was solved by restarting the router, because this is an episode of Nick Burns, your company's computer guy sketch on Saturday Night Live, I guess. But, so forgive me, because I am trying to get, how did that get all the way down there? Alright. I found the life total, which was hiding behind the banner.
I don't think anyone understands exactly what you're talking about. All I see here is like matrixy gobbledygoo, like
Well,
lots of code that I
if
don't
we need,
understand.
you should know by now, as a regular at the store, that if we need help with the matrix, that's when we call Yinsang. He's already got the gloves. He'll put on the
half
So
jacket.
this is game one. We now join our previously scheduled match already in progress. We've got game one here between Brett Rose on the left playing Esper Control, up against Garrett Meadows playing Junk Reanimator. Looks like Brett is well behind on life total, but he does have an Aetherling, which is basically impossible for Garrett to deal with in at least in the first game. And so you can pump that up to an 8-1, make it unblockable, right?
I mean, Aetherling's really good, but I think it'll just make Pithy Needle even more ubiquitous in the sideboard.
It's the best answer to it. It's also convenient that Pithy Needle was printed in block. So we saw Esper was the most popular archetype at the Pro Tour, and that's really good.
Was that a verdict?
Yeah, blink out your Aetherling, respond with verdict. But yeah, there's not a lot of ways to deal with it.
Now, when Aetherling blinks, it doesn't just come right back in like absent or stored stuff. It's end of turn.
End of turn. It's an old school end of turn. It phases out. That's one way.
Was he tapped out?
Yeah,
he was. Okay.
He had to tap out to do everything he wanted to do. I mean, Aetherling is a very mana-intensive card, but I mean, no one ever plays it with just 6 mana and just hope they don't have it.
I probably would because I don't think that far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really awful at magics.
You are. Of course, we are joined tonight by Aaron Daly.
Hello.
I wasn't. To be fair, I wasn't like waiting for you to respond. So I wasn't on you.
Well,
I just
silence kind of indicated otherwise.
I've never once claimed to be good at what I do. I did, however, forget to say anything after that.
So is that a psychic strike?
Yeah, psychic strike. As long as if you're playing the full complement of dissipates, then psychic strike is just functionally better in these decks than cancel.
Oh yeah,
the mana is not difficult at all. So Brett's going to look for a removal spell here. No, Tamio. Be interesting to see what he taps down. Probably a land of some sort, I would think. No, he's just going to... I guess you tap the Fiend Hunter down in this situation just to try and win off the back of Tamio's ultimate.
I mean, tapping off one of the lands at this point when he's got so many probably isn't the most
There is a
efficient
copy
thing
of Gristlebrand in that deck. I do know that from playtesting earlier tonight.
in Garrett's deck.
Yes, because he had 59 cards and couldn't figure out what he wanted the 60th one. It started as Teysa. Not Teysa. What's the crippled lady from the Orzhov Guild?
Teysa.
Oh, it's Teysa? Okay. And then as we see it dissipate. What's the name of the dragon?
Wait, what?
Isn't there a dragon that's like Teysa or Tava?
Tika's dragon?
No, from the new block of, like, not the Invasion Dragons, but the next block, the Planar Chaos
With,
Dragon.
like, Intet and stuff?
Yeah. Tava... Tor...
Triva?
Triva's
from
That's from
Invasion.
Invasion. That's the one that's, like,
It looks like that
or something.
It's that white one that looks like that thing. Ooh,
It's
Angel
the-
of Serenity. What
It's the
happened
one
there?
nobody wants. Garrett cast Angel of Serenity. That's what happened.
What did he hit with it? Oh, he's taking stuff out of his graveyard?
Yeah, another Angel, so he can chain them now, a Thragtusk, and a Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman is probably the most relevant card in this matchup. Relevant card in the sense that, as we see, Brett double activate Mill here. I playtest. The reason I know about Garrett's deck so much is because we were playtesting earlier, which is part of the reason why I didn't catch these broadcasting problems earlier. But there was a point once where I had late in the game cast a Sphinx's Revelation in combat to keep myself alive, and he passed back, and I had both copies of Jace Memory Adept in my hand. And if we were playing the new rules, I would have milled him out. But with the old Planeswalker rules, I died when he had 10 cards in his deck.
I have to say, generally speaking, I am for the rules changes. I understand them, but I don't think it's ever going to be perfectly intuitive, regardless of how they try to do it.
Ultimately I don't like them, but I just don't like change. And then but they're perfectly fine. Like, it doesn't change the way Magic is played all that much. It just changes strategy slightly. The game adapts anyway. What I don't like about it is, like, it's clearly just like going back on all of the the thematics of the game. You know what I mean? Like, they've written Vorthos out of Magic in the last few years. They eliminated the creative director, and then now they're doing
I was
this.
really disappointed about Brandy Dalmermuth.
And then this also with the Sliver art direction. I think it's just like, come on, guys.
Well, I don't know if they're killing Vorthos that way, but it's certainly detrimental.
Well, they're just making decisions that kind of take.
Those creatures didn't need to be slivers. They could be something else entirely.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to be slivers. Because in terms of art direction, Solemn Simulacrum, like I keep saying, is now a sliver.
Could be target Drangus. So Acidic Slime comes back. Garrett is playing I think he's playing 3 copies of Acidic Slime main deck. A lot of these Junk Reanimator decks have switched over to that strategy to deal with main deck ground seals and whatnot. In this matchup, it's incredibly relevant because it takes out Drown Yards.
What card are we? Oh, Slime.
Acidic Slime, yep. And here we have a Supreme Verdict. Aetherling comes back, but Garrett's just going to rebuy all those goodies that were under his...
Wait, Aetherling goes on the... Okay.
Under his Angel. Yeah, it was under a Fiend Hunter, not under an Angel of Serenity. This is the peril.
How much blue mana does Brett have?
Is a 700. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And Aetherling's, what's its base? 3?
It's a 4/5, I believe.
So that puts him on a 2-turn clock if he can't answer it.
Yeah, he can pump to 8.
Well.
It's a 2-turn clock before the Thragtusk, which puts him up to 21. The only rules change that I was really excited about, well, not excited about, but I just think is like intuitively good, is the you can sideboard as many cards as you want to.
Yeah, I agree.
And if only because that's not strategically advantageous to anyone. Anyone who thinks that jamming all 15 of your cards in against a mill deck is a great idea is kind of lost in the ether there. But
there have been plenty of times where I was like, man, I wish I could just run 61.
Well, that's fine. But I think the biggest advantage of it is now that no one will get incidental game losses at huge tournaments because they accidentally forgot to sideboard a card out and presented a 61 card deck. Like, that can't happen anymore.
Did he just swing with the Aetherling unpumped?
He pumped it once, I believe, because Garrett was at 7. Or no, he pumped it up to a 7. And then he blinks it, and one of the effects of blinking it, just giving it pseudo-vigilance. It's a pretty good Magic card. Tap down the Thragtusk there.
I initially thought it was overrated, and I think in some circles it still is, but I can't deny its power.
Yeah, and important to note here, Garrett has no way of dealing with the Tamiyo that doesn't involve the combat step. So as long as Brett can keep that from happening, he can potentially ultimate it next turn. Now that might not be necessarily good because I think Brett only has 1 card left in his hand, but should he draw a Terminus, this game is effectively over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 9 life, his Supreme Verdict is probably not good enough because of the Thragtusk tokens, but...
How close is he to going ultimate with Tameo?
Yeah, he can ultimate at this turn. It ultimates at 8. The question is, do you want to tick it up again? But the problem is he pretty much has to ultimate at this turn because he's going to lose Tameo. Because he can tap down the Angel, and he can block the Thragtusk, but he's still going to take 1 from that Deathrite Shaman.
Right. But then he can also do other shenanigans with the Shaman, too.
Yeah. He's just being super aggressive, just getting after it here. So he's going to need to pump 4 to get it to 8. 1, he's already made it unblockable. On the pump.
Well, those are...
The pump ability is colorless.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh. He's being a bit conservative with it.
Well, no, that's the max. Pumping up to 8 is all he can do. The question here is, what do you do with Tameo? You have to, if you can't ultimate it, I don't know what that card is in Brett's hand, but he can't ultimate it unless that's a removal spell. You have to tap down the Angel, I would think, here. And that's what he's doing. And then end of turn, he's going to blink his Aetherling. And end of turn, Garrett's going to drain him with the Deathrite. Seven mana for another
Grizzlebrand mana? No.
Another Angel. I'll sever the Bloodline. That should be enough, because I didn't realize the Sever was in the graveyard, but... Oh my.
Wow.
That's really good. So now...
I think that's game if he...
Yeah, because he'll just die on the swing back. There's nothing in Garrett's deck, unless he has another Fiend Hunter in his hand, which he does play 2 copies of it, but it's very unlikely that he has another one. He can't flash back an Unburial Rites at this point with just 3 mana, even if there's one in his graveyard. If that had connected, he would have been able to exile the Aetherling, or at least make Brett blink it, then he could have attacked in 4-5 and drained him for the rest. Yo, hit Brandon. But as it is, he's not going to be able to do that.
Game 1, 2.
This should be game 1.
Yeah.
They go long. And now Brett's in the position where he can ultimate his Tameo, still keep it around. But it doesn't really matter. He's just going to attack with his unblockable Aetherling, pump it twice, and that should be the game. I really can't think of anything that Garrett can do that wouldn't.
Me neither.
He has something here. Oh, he's going to gain life in response, and then Brett's just going to pump up the other 2. If Brett had been at, if Garrett had been at a life total where that would have worked. Did you remember back in? Do you ever watch like the Pro Tour coverage?
I don't, unfortunately.
That's fun. Well, there's nothing fortunate or unfortunate about it. It's not necessarily the most entertaining thing in the world. But let's scoot over.
Okay,
it's line shift. Okay.
The reason it's not entertaining is the commentary. Like, if it was just a game that I was watching that maybe I could hear the players talk, I think it would be much more interesting. And I've already told you, like yours is the only commentary I can stand that I actually enjoy listening to.
Mm-hmm.
If I mute the Pro Tour coverage, I'd probably be okay with it.
It's a valid point, but the one thing I was going to talk about is the last Pro Tour, well, not the last Pro Tour, but the Pro Tour, the modern Pro Tour that was in Seattle. The final game of the final match of the championship between the Eggs deck and the Jund deck. So the Eggs deck was comboing off. It clearly had. Like the game was over. Like there was the interaction portion of the turn was over, and then he was just looking for his win condition, which in the sideboard games is Grape Shot. And so he found his Grape Shot, and his opponent was at 17 life, and he cast Grape Shot as his 17th spell for the turn. And his opponent tapped a green mana, tapped a Deathrite Shaman, removed a creature, went up to 19. And everyone's like, "Oh no, did he just punt?" And then Stanislav Sisker, the guy piloting eggs, was just like, okay, they kind of laughed about it, and then he just cycled a Conjurer's Bauble to put it back on top, and then like it's inevitability. That's the whole purpose of the deck is inevitably I will make it so I draw the same whatever cards I want forever. But it was kind of funny that like he almost blew it by just basic map. I do want to take a second, guys. A lot of you have already mentioned it in the chat, and this is one of the reasons why I was so upset that we couldn't get things squared away here. But you will notice we've got some new real estate out there. This is a playmat that we received courtesy of
InkedPlaymats.com.
InkedPlaymats.com, which is conveniently covered up by Brett Sideboard Cards.
It is not Playmats.com.
It is not Playmats.com. It is InkedPlaymats.com. I got in touch with those guys and asked them if they would like to...
Hey, Brett, get your cards off the logo.
Oh, no, leave it. So, but there we go. But
You're a jerk.
Inked... So it's very simple. I got in touch with the guys and I said, we've got this stream. It's nothing special necessarily, but we have what I would call a small, vigorously loyal fan base. And actually, did you know this, Aaron? I have 1,100 subscribers to my YouTube channel.
No, I did not.
That's more than like if you look at a lot of the popular Magic channels on YouTube, like the ones that there's not a ton, but there are a lot. It's like more than a lot of them. So I'm not saying that means anything, but it's a pretty good marketing. A lot of people see these things.
But when you're in South Charleston, West Virginia, it's still very actually even
we just recently got the internet.
Yeah. Just 5 years ago.
My favorite is to always say that we just recently got math in West Virginia.
We're like the Australia of America.
What are these books that everyone keeps talking about? But anyways, all joking aside, thanks to those guys at Ink Playmats, we're going to have some more information about, obviously, their website and then other specials and stuff. I know they had a Memorial Day sale that was going on last week. If you remember Cliff Markham's playmat, the one that had all the like internet meme logo faces on it, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but a lot of people in this stream have been asking about it in past months. He got that ordered made from there. You can send them a custom image file and they'll print you out a playmat. And
maybe I'll get one that says, I didn't know that was a thing. We'll just have it say, God damn it.
It's just a picture of Dead-Eye Navigator plus acidic slime equals and just
angry Aaron, just like this.
I think I would pay for that playmat. I think. But
I
anyway,
just never thought they would happen.
So thanks a lot to those guys for sponsoring this. Hopefully they'll check this out too and make sure to see that things are going well.
Is this your binder?
Those are my binders, yes. But seriously, guys, if you want to help the stream out, if you're ever interested in having your own playmat made, make sure you head over to inkplaymats.com and
tell them Zach.
Look for tell them that we are in no way sponsored by them in any kind of like kickback format. Like there's not a they do support some other places and there's a percentage I think and stuff like that. But I think you should just go there because they're incredibly nice guys to deal with. They even sent me the logo and the outline and said, hey, here's what we're going to do. And I said, can we make a few changes because,
so they designed it initially, or they took the lead?
I said, would you like to do a playmat for us? And they said, here's how many people will see it. And they said, yes. And they said, send me the image of your logo. And so I sent it to them. And then they sent me back a rough draft. And I said, can we change a few things? It was mostly just color-wise because I don't know if you're familiar with, like, Scott Driver and Adam Vickers have the old Magic Show playmat that has that really bright red bar at the top where the red zone is. Our camera, would constantly act up with it because it was for whatever shade it was. And that was basically...
Is that why they have the stripe kind of thing going there?
Well, a little bit, and it's also much darker than originally printed. So but that's what I mean. They're giving us something for free, and they're more than willing to be like, hey, how's this look? And when I told him, it's like, it looks great because you're being generous and giving it to us. I don't want to feel like I'm flipping a gift horse in the mouth, you know what I mean?
And it's good that you were so well-mannered about it. There are not a lot of people. Well, plenty of people would be, but it's... I just have to say, I'm looking at your binder.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you really expect Moorland Haunt to go up in value. Do you just happen to have so many?
Aaron is talking about I have a page and a half of Moorland Haunt in there. It's not. No, that was not a speculation of any means. Hey, Brandon. No, that just happens. Sometimes you just have that happen.
No, this is not mine. Because half of this stuff would be in my cube already.
Well, just pull out what you want.
But I don't have much to give.
I mean, most of it will just go. There might be a few things I would want something back for. If it's for your cube, you can pretty much just have it.
I like the Sky Knight.
Yeah, take it.
God, you're like the most generous person I know.
It's for your cube. It's for the good of the community. I don't know if you know, but I've been doing this stream every week, barring 3 of them, one of which I was in the hospital for, since August 31st of last year. for literally net hundreds of dollars in the hole. So I'm basically about community. That's kind of my thing. So if just whatever you want in there, just take it out.
Would you get off your cross for a minute?
We're talking. That's not what I mean. I'm just talking about. I would much rather. Aaron is building, or has already built, and is now fine-tuning a peasant cube, which is a common and uncommon only cube. We drafted that on Wednesday for funsies. A lot of good magic and good times to be had. And he is now perusing for foils to pimp that deck out. As we see Garrett
what about
rolling
this
down
beautiful
to
Geist Flame?
Yeah, you can have it.
Zach of Zach Sells Magic, everybody.
I would much rather those cards be in your cube than sitting in my binder wasting away so that I can hopefully get a dime from a dealer for it.
The Grotto?
Sure.
Oh, Zach.
Well, you just line them all up here while I want to talk about this match of Magic here.
All right. Oh, they're starting up?
Yeah, so Garrett on the play, I believe he mulled to at least 6. He could have possibly mulled to 5, but his deck is one that actually mulls fairly well. He just needs lands. Miracling that Isolated Chapel. So he is in business. I see he's cited in Garrett Relentless. He's going to run out a Grizzly Salvage here. Acidic Slime, Cavern, Burial Rites, Temple Garden, and I believe a Woodland Cemetery, so he's going to take the Cavern, which is going to be great against Brett's Dissipate deck. Already got one Burial Rites in the bin, already has an Acidic Slime in the bin, so next turn he can play that Cavern, flash back, get the Acidic Slime back, taking out the Drown Yard. It's not exactly what you want to be doing with your Burial Rites, but in this matchup, it's all about resources. So let's see if Garrett chooses to pull the trigger on that. Looks like he is. And Brett's going to respond. Yeah, Psychic Strike it, milling a Garrett Relentless, and Sin Collector. Sin Collector's pretty big in this matchup too.
Sin Collector's an excellent card in general.
And Brett hits his sideboard there with a Rest in Peace, which is pretty brutal. Because one of the acidic slimes was already in the graveyard, so. Here comes a Thragtusk. Oh no, it's another acidic slime.
I would assume it would hit the Rest in Peace.
Yes.
Oh no.
Well, there's an interesting part of these Reanimator decks at which if you can just, like you play Mana Dorks, you play a heavy land count, you're constantly playing Mulches or Grizzly Salvages to hit your land drops, you can just cast your dudes.
Well, I figured that would be the route he went if he couldn't get rid of the Rest in Peace, but it figured he...
I think he
I don't know what's in his hand.
That Brett is mana light in this draw, and he's just trying to ride that advantage.
I mean,
because if he has a Thragtusk in his hand, like this is perfectly good spot to be in.
Sure.
Which is 7 power on board, one of which you have to kill twice, up against 3 lands.
Lots of compliments on the playmat on the feed.
It's
I mean, it
awesome.
works really well too. I mean, look at it.
Yeah, it is pretty darn awesome.
It is an excellent surface on which to play.
There's only one complaint I have about it. It has that new playmat smell right now, which is.
I'm not aware.
Have you ever had a new playmat? Like,
yeah,
it just smells a lot like the rubber for like a few days.
Right.
And unlike the new car smell, not that good. It just smells like chemicals.
For anyone who doesn't know, that is Garrett's token.
That is a special. That's a specific Garrett. That is a Garrett Relentless token.
I'm assuming that's standing in for a wolf.
That is a wolf from the actual Garrett Relentless.
Ooh, an Obsidian.
It gets dissipated. Yeah. But Brett's in a spot here, you know, I don't know what kind of D-Sphere specs he's playing, but Garrett sides into Garrick's in this matchup. Just the classic anti-control package, which is to put a Planeswalker on the board and make him deal with it. So he's going to pile in with his 2 Wolves and a Deathrite Shaman. Looks like 5 to me. Should drop him down to 12. And then follows it up with another Acidic Slime. So he milled one of them and then drew the other 2 naturally. He only has 3, and they all start in the main deck. But to his
that's going
credit,
to be really tough to come back from.
well, Brett's on 4 mana. If he cannot Supreme Verdict here though, because Garrett has wisely and not in any nonchalant fashion been taking out the white sources. So what do we look at here? 1, 2, 9. Drop Brett down to 1. Oh, so an angel is going to come in and eat one of the wolf tokens. So just taking 7. Drop him down to 3.
He's gonna need a little more than that.
Yeah, but if he draws another white source, he can.
He can't survive the crackback. I mean, unless I'm missing something.
Well, this is during Garrett's turn. And
Right.
Garrett is going to trade. Oh,
Forget what I said, guys.
Yes and no. This is like the nut mold of 6 for Garrett because he
could just mark those tokens with a die, but
it's more fun. But look what he's doing in those things. He's tearing it up.
I'm pretty sure he only has 3, so I don't know what he's gonna start doing.
That's a picture of Garrett at the club at 1 o'clock on a Saturday night, tearing it up.
Is it really?
No.
I mean, because I've seen I know that. Okay.
Garrett Meadows has never been to a club at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Has he ever been to a club? He doesn't seem like a clubbing kind of guy.
I don't know. I do like that we're joking about this, and he can. Don't do that. My stupid.
That's what I look like.
My camera is a piece of crap anymore. I don't know what's going on with it. But why is it doing that? Goodness sakes! Everything.
It's probably doing it to spite you now that you just used that voice. Why is it doing that?
Everything, all the technology we have is conspiring against me. But yeah, so Garrett breaks even here. More importantly, these guys got about 10 minutes left in the round. And to be perfectly honest, if it does go to time, we'll give them a couple more minutes because I did have them wait for a couple seconds when we started this round because of the technical difficulties. I do want to take a brief second to discuss why is Just Go White's name being mentioned in the.
That's from when we were just talking about West Virginia being the Australia of America and things, and we just got mad, and apparently Crushing You just put something that he knows about West Virginia which is the whites,
and he's confirming that that's exactly what happened there.
Because if you've heard of it, it's funny.
It is. He is a very interesting man. Is he though?
He probably is.
He is very interesting. Have you seen the documentary?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Crushing You, like the guy in the feed that actually.
But no, he was interesting.
Yeah,
I don't wager to make a guess either way. I assume that because he's watching a stream, he's making some questionable life choices. But that's the usual rib I give to anyone that watches this. But no, Just Go White. Have you seen Just Go White's documentary?
I've seen the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia,
well,
and it's more sad than
that one is super depressing because it is not in any way embellished, in my opinion, and it is just that is what happens in that area, and it is really, really sad.
But I think they wanted us to think it was funny, the filmmakers, and I didn't.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they did or not, but when you say from the creators of Jackass, this documentary about these weird hillbilly guys, then you kind of lose credibility, even if it is a legitimate documentary.
The name of the production company, I believe, is Dick House.
It is Dick House.
Dick House Productions.
There are 3 Just Go White documentaries. The first one is called
White Lightning.
No, Just Go White Dancing Outlaw.
Oh, right, the original.
Followed by Just Go White Goes to Hollywood. That's when Tom Arnold flew him out to Hollywood to guest star in an episode of Roseanne.
He was really?
Yes, that happened, and then I own all these if you want them to borrow them. And then finally the Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, which is more about his extended family.
There's actually a movie about him called White Lightning, though.
Was this a scripted endeavor?
I believe it was. It's on Netflix. I have not bothered. I know the feed is very interested in. Oh, apparently Crushing You knows all about it.
Mm-hmm. The Dancing Outlaw is the best one. It is the original. It features such. It's the most quotable. Just Go White is the most quotable man in the world. I'll put this on my notes so we can recap post at the Just Go links. It features such things as, "Woman, I'm going to kill you if you don't stop making them slimy, sloppy eggs." And you're going to wait. You're going to go to sleep, all right? You're going to go to sleep in a coffin. That is a sample of the marital distress that he and his wife.
Timmy Turner 666 is asking, "Are they foil?" I'm assuming you're referring to the tokens,
or just to the whites.
Very, very late on that one. Yeah, the foil whites.
The last thing I will talk about the Just Go White is that his wife looks like a fat Richard Simmons. She does. I also think one of the
Which is-
funniest things you can do is say someone looks like a fat, he looks like a fat Rush Limbaugh. It's just funny to say that. All right, let's talk about Magic here. So Brett won the play this game after getting slimed out of the last game.
I think he swung with the Pilgrim, by the way.
He did. I just haven't got to it yet. Garrett's ramping his mana, but apparently has nothing to do with it. He's going to play another Deathrite Shaman. It looks like he may be a little tight on lands. No? There we go. End of turn, cycling, and Azorius Charm.
Putting on my sunglasses indoors for a moment because I am that cool.
All right. Looks like Brett may have missed a land drop here.
I'm curious as to how many lands he's running because he's.
No,
It seems to be a
he did.
recurring issue for him.
I think what he's debating was that he's played 4 lands, none of which came into play untapped, just because that's the problem with these the three color decks is that if you start with a turn 1 tapped Watery Grave or Godless Shrine or Hallowed Fountain, then your mana base is amazing. If you don't, if you draw the other half of your land base, it is the most frustrating game in the world.
I have had that happen to me more than once.
And that's just the perils of playing those kind of mana bases. This is interesting here. He's going to cast the Snapcaster Rage for no value just so he can take out the Deathrite.
I think that was a wise play.
It's going to pay off in the long term here.
It's got to sting a little bit to use a snap as a wall, basically.
Yeah. Snapcaster Mage is
Whereas in this case, like a shock.
it's a Doomblade. That's what it is.
Well,
It is.
no, because it's black.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a
It's
jerk.
sometimes Snapcaster Mage is good just because it's a 2-power Grizzly Bear, or whatever, 2 Elvish Archers or whatever you want to say. But
It's worthy to note that I think we're on turn 4 or 5, and except for right now, Brett had no board presence until.
but his deck doesn't have a lot. His deck wins with lands. So he flashes out the Restoration Angel at end of turn, likely trying to set another tapped land, likely setting up for blocking the Thragtusk and then sweeping the board afterwards to get rid of the token. You're down to, I don't know how much time is left in the actual round. Garrett getting in there. Yeah, that seems to be the play.
Is it going to be another Garrett Relentless token?
No, actual beasts. The Garrett tokens are just for wolves.
Oh,
Or as we
excuse
like
me.
to say, woof token?
We are in West Virginia.
In the very first few iterations of our broadcast, I used to have a label that was super big and all over the entire screen that whenever a wolf token was made, it just flashed up a wolf token. Because they're a
Woof or wolf?
woof, because it was more funny that way. It's funnier that way, I should say. I stopped doing that though, because do you know how many wolf tokens are made in Standard and Blessfall? Huntmaster makes one, Garrett makes one. There are a lot of them. People blinking things.
So Timmy Turner 666 on the feed has expressed his dislike for Thragtusk in a subtle way, and I agree. I hate him. I hate his face.
Thragtusk is Were you participating in FNM, or have you heard told of the infamous Thragtusk counter?
No.
There was a game a few weeks ago in the quarterfinals of the top 8. Game 1 took 40 minutes, and between the two of them, they cast, rebought, and blinked 14 Thragtusks in one game. Cliff Markham and Brandon Gibbs did.
The thing is,
Last week I kept it up the entire tournament. There was only 7. So Sin Collector comes down.
Sin Collector is going to... I'm surprised Brett's not running any of those. in
Sin
Esper Control.
Collector is the, I think, honestly, the most impactful card out of Dragon Space. As we see a Verdict, a Rest in Peace, Think Twice, Aetherling, Jace, Memory Adept, and a Tameo. The Supreme Verdict goes away. It is, of course, exiled. It's a very, very pertinent factor here. Did he just draw another one?
Yeah, he's using Think Twice.
No, but did he just draw another Supreme Verdict?
I could not tell.
I think that he did. We need to push this camera up a little bit because we're struggling to see the top.
It's also worth noting that I don't know how you position it out there, but the glare is not an issue like it has been recently.
Well, that's because this week they let me tear a table down and put the table where I wanted it to. Because we had seating for like 65 people, and I'm all for packing the house, but we've never had 65 people. So I'm like, can I get rid of these 6 seats?
Oh, there's
He did
another verdict.
I'm pretty sure he drew that off the first half of the thing twice. And then just a rest in peace. Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's a pretty brutal turn of events.
Well, Garrett's still at 5, and there's a lot he could do with
He has
that.
a slime in his hand, too. That's going to take out the rest in peace. I mean, he could take out a drown yard if he wants to, but...
Man.
I mean, I think actually that makes sense, too, because that's more... you're not going to lose to the rest in peace at this point. You're going to lose to removal in that drown yard and just the inevitability of time.
I mean, Etherling caused him a big headache in Game 1.
Can you talk this game through here a little bit? I'm going to run out and make sure JB knows these guys have a couple extra minutes. All right.
So memory adept coming down.
What's going on?
Are we locking him out?
No. But we have a Grizzly Savage coming down. It's a really good match so far, actually.
It's the same game that's been going on for like 15 minutes.
It's the same match, but it's Game 3.
Okay.
I did not see what he pitched to that Grizzly Salvage.
I'm running the stream right now.
Are you?
Apparently, isn't that what Stevie said?
He said you jacked.
It's kind of an interesting move to play the memory adept against a Reanimator deck.
It's pretty good when you have the rest of these out on the board, though.
Oh, of course. Again, like I said earlier, I'm terrible at Magic.
Well, there's an interesting point too. Like I said, I was playtesting with him earlier today, playing Garrett's Esper deck, which is very similar to Brett's, against Garrett's Junk Reanimator deck. And while you don't want to mill them, there are still situations where, like, putting Angel of Serenity back on top and milling it still gets you a certain advantage. And you just wait till the point of the game where you stabilize, then start milling them.
Yeah.
It's not like some matchups where your 4 lands just mill them straight away.
You have to make them work harder to get.
You have to get to a point where you don't care if they're trying to reanimate. In the chat, SB Lance asking for the bug control deck list. Is it on Deckbox? Yeah, it is on Deckbox. I think the last 2 weeks, Adam Vickers' bug control deck list has been on Deckbox. So head over there.
So do you think you would go for Jace or just go right for the Dome?
I don't know how many cards are in his library. If he has less than 20 cards, well, he's splitting it up.
Well, that makes sense. Well, unless he wants to take Jace up one next turn just to keep him alive, but I don't think that would be it.
Jace is not doing anything here except milling 10, I don't think.
How many cards? Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know. Not very many. I mean,
Yeah.
if I had to just estimate, I'd say somewhere in the 20 range, maybe less.
Milling probably not the best strategy at 5 life.
There's Obsidian. That changes things drastically.
That's one turn clock, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I don't understand then is why he didn't cast that first and then swing with the Pilgrim and the Slime.
What is that?
Was he worried about a counter? Oh, Sphinx's Revelation.
What was your question here?
Well, I was curious initially why he wouldn't have played Obsidat and then swung for 3 right at Brett, unless he was anticipating the Revolution.
Do you know what happened there?
No idea. Remand?
Did Obsidat get countered? I didn't see it.
No.
Going back to his hand, apparently.
Or did he take it back?
Hand.
He probably didn't have the land.
That's what I was going to say, if he didn't have the land to play it.
And because Garrett is this will be outside.
I think so, it wasn't me.
And because Garrett is a what we would like to call an honest gentleman.
Yeah, he doesn't have the lands. He only has one.
God's
Godless Shrine.
Yeah, and so it looks like Garrett did have less than 20 cards. He's got about 5 cards left, so he's going to have to try and kill Brett this turn, which I don't think
He has a rusted hand right now.
Tamio tapping down the acidic slime. And if Brett has like an Azorius Charm, this game is over, isn't it? No, I think he had Angel Serenity in his hand.
I think he's one short of casting it.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything. He just dies next turn. He has to kill that Jace.
I don't think he can.
I don't think he can either. And while the time is run out, when I stepped outside, there were 5 minutes left, and I told JB to give him 2 more minutes. So this game will not. This game will come to a resolution one way or the other.
As most do.
Some it will come to a winner will be determined. Is what I should say. Not that it's just. You're right. Most games do end in some fashion. Breaking.
There might be one somewhere that's been going on.
Revolutionary coverage. Aaron Taylor. This just in, folks. Most games end some way. He's getting in there.
Let me just help you there. I think he's forgetting that Tamio tapped down the slime. Or tapped down something. I'm sure it would have been the slime.
Brett showed him an Aetherling. I think Brett was trying to avoid the slow roll and say that this is what's happening. Because Brett can't.
I can hear that there's a mildly spirited discussion going on at the table. I can hear, oh, well.
Well, I mean, in order for that situation to, in order for Garrett to not have died there, he had to have killed the Jace. Or did he have more than 10 cards in his library?
It looked like he only had about 5.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever going to be a situation. So Brett Rose takes game 1, or round 1. We only saw part of it.
Yeah, and it only took forever.
Well, both of those decks are Garrett's deck. Garrett is trying to hardcast a Grizzlebrand at some point, so that's how slow his deck is. Then Brett's deck, obviously the control deck in the format. This is pretty exciting. Look at those. Look how many I got. Rock, paper, scissors. Because Yin Sang was sorting some bulk, and he found some in his personal collection and said, here, have these.
Oh, stuff that I could never afford. Looking in Zach's other binder of things that I'm just not going to look at it because I can't afford these things.
There are a lot of dual lands in there. A playset of Thoughtseize, if you want those.
Has that been eliminated from Modern Masters? They've already crunched it. It's not going to be reprinted.
It's I don't think there's been a formal designation as such, but they have the number crunchers have determined that it can't be in the set based on the numbering, because the numbering is done alphabetically, and based on the cards that they have spoiled, it can't fit in there.
It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
All lands have been spoiled too.
I was
all
really,
lands have. So
I was really holding out hope for the filter lands.
Well, the filter lands I wasn't concerned with. I thought for sure Mutable would have gotten reprinted.
Apparently not.
Well, they got
Mutable's not even really played in anything.
They got to save that for Modern Masters too.
Electric Boogaloo.
Will you be streaming that
Modern Masters.
draft?
Yeah, that's funny because I think we might. A couple people were asking earlier about. They were asking me on Twitter, like, are you going to, when Modern Masters comes out, are you going to stream it? I thought I hadn't really thought about it.
I think we should. I think it'll be probably an interesting opportunity.
Yeah, I would like to. I also want to draft some, so it might just be like, as I understand it, we're going to do it on June 8th. It's going to be an all-day draft, so if you're local, head down here. I think it's like $25 or $30. I don't know if they've come to a final designation or whatnot, but it's going to be very cost-effective. Get to draft some Modern Masters all day. They're just going to draft it until they run out of boxes.
Just full disclosure, I might just rare draft the entire time. I might just rare draft, duck out, go to my next draft.
You might do that, or everyone might do that.
You know, I heard Tarmogoyf isn't that good. You can pass it.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf is not that good.
Actually, Tarmogoyf is probably not that good in like a Modern Unlimited.
Yeah.
But you would have to take it if you didn't have it.
No one is ever not going to take it.
Yeah,
no one is.
It's a $130 card.
No one is.
But the thing is, okay, you can have like your Tarmogoyf and then a foil, something other awesome like Dark Confidant. What do you do?
How much is Dark Confidant?
I don't care how. Well, okay, I just don't own either.
Foil pack. foil, pack foil Ravnica Dark Confidant.
Moderate max.
It's like 160.
A regular one is like between 100 and 150.
So I'd probably
The Judge foil is about 100, 120.
I'd probably take
This-
the Dark Confidant.
I just want to play it. I don't really care. I'm to the point in Magic where I've got all the cards that I need. I just want to have fun.
I just wish when I first started playing, I started playing around 4th edition and Ice Age. 4th edition had just come out, which means they had just taken the duels out of the set.
Uh-huh.
And those duels still cost like $5-10. And as my 14-year-old self was like, I don't have that much money.
Did you ever see?
And if only I'd have thought to myself, wait, let's just spend the money now as a wise 14-year-old. And then maybe make lots and lots of money in the future. But since I wasn't clairvoyant, that didn't happen. I do own one volcanic island.
I know. I'm telling you when you want to trade it to me.
Well, it's the only dual land I own.
I know. I'm just gonna put it in my cube. That's why.
Okay.
Sun Petal grows pretty good. No, but this is interesting for those of you who are familiar with our Facebook page, facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. I post stuff there every day, mostly like news and stream related stuff, a lot of pictures and videos. But I always like to post little random tidbits throughout. Like I don't know, I consume a lot of Magic content in a day, and every time I find something neat. There was one time when a guy, his name is Dan Bach. He's up in I think either Wisconsin or Michigan, I can't remember, but he's one of the bigger players in Magic secondary market retail and whatnot. And he was sorting things, and he had found an old list of he had found an old inventory list from the card shop he was working at from like around Odyssey block.
Oh my!
You're gonna need to shut the door. Why does it do that? Sorry about that. Huh?
Freezes up.
No, it just gets choppy when somebody opens the door and like it has focus issues. But I don't know what's wrong. All my equipment is garbage. If anyone wants to donate money so I can buy a better camera.
Yeah, but here's the deal.
But here, I want to finish the story about
Okay.
the thing. He
Put a
found this.
pin in
It was around Torment, Odyssey, that kind of time, and it's just a list of all the stuff they had in inventory and what the prices are, and it's hilarious because it's like Tropical Island, Volcanic Island, $12, $14, and then it's like Traumatized. You know what Traumatized is?
No, it
half the
kills
library.
half the library.
Yeah, it's like $20 or something. It was just so funny because at that time all those prices were appropriate for like standard demand and supply and whatnot. And it's just like all these tropical islands were like $10.
Well, a couple things. So back in the day, around the time I got in, I happened to crack
When did you start playing?
4th edition in Ice Age, so
Yeah,
around
me too.
95, 96. And I cracked a Jester's Cap, which at the time
My favorite card.
was one of the best cards ever
It's a
printed.
good side of the card.
And so this guy sees it, he goes nuts. Among other things, he trades me for the one Jester's Cap, a Volcanic Island, Balance, Celestial Dawn, and it gets less impressive as the list goes on. But the fact that Jester's Cap is now worth maybe $5 if you're lucky, probably not even.
that. $1 maybe.
And the last time I checked on that particular Volcanic Island, which is in excellent condition, is $130.
Sure.
It makes me happy, then it also makes me really sad because it's the only duel I own.
Well, we all
So
have
if I ever
stuff.
play Legacy, it's definitely going to be Is It Colored, and it's going to be not very good.
There's a question in chat about how Adam Vickers match his bug control list. SB Lance is really into. Thanks, Jamie. Adam Vickers' bug control list from a few weeks ago. So I'll ask him about his aggro matchups if I can get a hold of him later.